Hello and welcome to Super OK, where we try to do a decent enough job to entertain people with our opinions on video games. My name is Dale, and I am joined here by two absolutely wonderful co-hosts. Co-host A, Gannon, can you say the word enough for me?
Never enough.
Perfect, because I did a pretty bad job
there.
Oh yeah,
that's me.
That's good. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thanks for being here. How are you doing, Gannon?
I'm doing well. I'm living my best life, just kind of making it through the new year. Excited to see what happens in the new year, and look forward to what 2024 is going to bring.
Nice. Me too. Zando, are you also living your best life?
I hope so. 2023 was a real shit year for me, so I'm assuming it can only get better.
Dude, you know what? It was a rough year for a lot of folks. I am with you. You particularly. So
yeah, my New Year's resolution this year is to not have any more dads die. So I've
so far you're doing pretty
year,
well.
So yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Cool. What a great start to the podcast. All right. Oh man. All right. Each week we start the podcast with a highlight of the week. We know what Zando's isn't, but Zando, what is your highlight of the week? What made your week a little bit better, a little bit brighter, a little bit nicer to live in?
Well, it's actually been a couple of weeks since I've been on the podcast, so I'm actually going to cheat a little bit. And since the last time I started, or since the last time I was on the show, I got a new job, and it's a fancy full-time job that I've not had in a while. And so that's just been making every week really good. Having
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Having a steady paycheck and it being enough to like cover the things that I need to cover is pretty great. Thanks to Gannon for making the connection with an old friend out here that ended up getting me the job. But I'm having fun with it so far, and I'm looking forward to how it will grow and just continue to be something interesting to do around here.
Nice. Now, for the listeners, can you say what you're doing? Like, you don't have to like dox yourself.
Yeah, so I'm working.
What's the job entail?
I'm working for a company that's been around for almost 100 years. They've been doing audio and visual, like event production and IT and networking, all that kind of stuff. I'm on the AV team, so anytime there's like a corporate event or something that's going on that needs, lighting, sound, whatever, our team goes out and sets that stuff up, runs it, tears it down, takes it back. We've got a lot of legacy clients, if you will. So there's some stuff where I might be working at Comerica Park with the Detroit Tigers, or anything that might be going on there. It's just there's a lot of cool places to go, a lot of cool things to see, and a lot of places to work on. So I'm really excited for how it's going to be something different every single week. It'll challenge me to kind of use some stuff that I maybe have had dormant for a while that I've not been able to use in previous jobs, and find ways that it can make things that I've been doing recently even better. So I'm just learning a whole bunch of new equipment, new connections, new all kinds of stuff. So I'll be a bigger, smarter boy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully not bigger.
Well, yeah,
you cannot handle a true giant.
Yeah, I don't need to be any bigger. Hopefully, if anything, it makes me a smaller boy because I'll be moving around a lot more instead of just sitting at a desk all day. So,
I was just talking about height. I doubt it will make you smaller either. You're just too tall is what it comes down to. I cannot help but call out the fact that when I was in high school, I was in the equivalent of our AV club, and I was bullied mercilessly for it. And I didn't even know a job like this existed back then.
Mm-hmm.
So I was getting bullied for no potential future payoff. Were you in an AV club, and did you get bullied if you were?
I wasn't, but I probably should have. That probably would have helped me out a little bit.
Dude, you missed out. I worked AV at my school. I got paid to do AV at my school. It wasn't even a club. We worked in the auditorium.
Wild.
I had that was my job in high school and post high school for a bit.
Nice.
It was the way to go. We was the coolest kids in school.
Yeah,
I had keys to the high school building. It was dangerous as a high schooler
until like my junior year of high school that I realized like our AV classes were actually good, and I fell in love with them. And so I probably could have had a much more productive high school career had I done that in like, I don't know, freshman year or something. And those classes like really helped me kind of come out of my shell and be kind of more the person that I am now. Shout outs to that teacher, Miss Hillman, rest in peace. She was great and just did a lot with the students to kind of help us, just realize that we were not the nerds we thought we were. We were even nerdier, and we could embrace it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
Beautiful story. It's a beautiful story.
I love it a lot. Cool. I will go next with my highlight of the week, which is the fact that Ange and I are taking advantage of this unseasonably warm Michigan weather, and we have gone up to Gladwin, Michigan, which is a podunk, nothing, tiny town in the middle of Michigan. But we are just having a blast. We are staying at her friend's cabin. It's on a lake. So when we got here, we got to watch like all the little birds swimming around that were confused about like, what season is it? And then as it's gotten a little bit colder over the last week, we got to watch the lake freeze over, and that was cool.
Are the birds still in the lake as it froze?
Yeah, it's grim as hell. Yep. Yeah, they're just squawking. There's nothing we can do. It's a cacophony of horror. No, they left. Anyway, but the nice part is Gladwin, while it has really not much itself going on, it's pretty centrally located. So we were able to spend a day in Midland, and we went to this place called Dow Gardens, which is like a huge nature walk kind of thing with a conservatory, and it's where the Dow family like originally lived or whatever. And so they turned it into this huge compound with like this nature walk thing that we went on, and it's got like a performing arts center, and it's got a museum and all of that sort of stuff. And that was awesome. We went to a bunch of little record stores and game shops and checked all of those out. Very cool. Just like a fun little downtown area, like a small town downtown. And then we went to a different one yesterday up in West Branch, and then went to their 3-screen movie theater and saw Wonka. So it was like, it's just been a fun little like getaway. We're still working during the week, but to be able to be somewhere that is not in our lovely parents' or siblings' homes while we're working on this stuff, be somewhere where we're just on our own timeline and can enjoy all of the stuff that's around us is really, really nice. It's kind of like a staycation, but where we didn't stay in our own house because it's still floating. So yeah, pretty cool.
Neat.
Is there like, is this now like a new place that you'd like want to go back to? If like when you guys are in the house, is this like a version of up north for you now? Like if you're like, hey, we do want to do a staycation, is this a place you'd go back to?
Oh yeah, definitely. Actually, her friend who owns the house, it's called the Miller Vacation House. So shout out to the Millers. But look them up in Gladwin, Michigan. The house is rentable on. I don't even think they do like Airbnb or any of that. They just have a webpage, and then you call Dwayne, and he's like, "Yep, that time's available," or "Nope, that time's not available." And it's super reasonable pricing. It's like $600 for 7 days. So yeah,
that's awesome.
It's definitely awesome. So check them out if you're interested in staying in Gladwin, Michigan, and we probably will in the future because it's really nice.
That's very cool. I'll go last since there's no one else, so I guess it just means that I go. My highlight of the week is it's tied to something that I did last night. I had a really great time hanging out with Senseless and with Brain of Dane. We started Remnant 2. I've never played Remnant. I know nothing about Remnant, but it was something that Clay really wanted to play. He started playing it, and then he put it on pause, and then I bought it on Steam, and then it became available on Game Pass. Anyway, long story short, we started playing for the first time last night, and man, that's a good game. Like, I feel like we haven't talked about Remnant as a whole very much in our group, and if you haven't checked it out, it very cool looter shooter so far. We're very early. I don't know much about it. I know that I have a class and I have a dog, and my dog follows me around, and I love it, which is very different than real life. So that's cool. And it was just like it was difficult, but there was like really cool environmental challenges and like boss challenges, and kind of discovering this game has been a lot of fun. So big shout out to Senseless and Brina Dane. I'm excited to keep playing. But Remnant 2, if you haven't played it, definitely give it a shot.
Nice. Yeah. What a star-studded cast that you were able to play it with.
Yeah, I mean,
you got to play with the King of Thanksgiving 2023.
It's true. The King of Thanksgiving 2023 and Senseless Guy. Also Clay.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved the first Remnant. I thought it was absolutely amazing. It was technically the first Souls-like that I ever really played. It's very vaguely a Souls-like though. Yeah. But it's just got that like OG like looter shooter vibe to it without it being like a strict looter shooter where it's like, oh, I have my inventory management is such a pain in the ass, like all that. Like you get new gear very sparingly in this game, but when you get it, it is always impactful. So I'm really glad to hear that you're having a good time with it. I loved the first one, and the second one might show up later in this episode. So speaking of this episode, 2023 sure did have some real good video games, huh? Like if you think about it, like years from now, it's going to be one of those things where somebody's going to post an image of all of the games that came out in 2023. And it's just going to be like wait, really? All of those came out in 2023? Kind of deal. Like there were banger after banger after banger. We talked about that in our retrospective. We talked about that in our Game Awards episode. So if you want to hear about all the games that we loved in 2023, go back and check those out, because today we are going to look forward instead of backwards. It is time to break down what we are looking forward to the most. That way we can express our sadness at the end of 2024 later on because of how unbearably wrong we were back when we recorded this right now. So we are going to take a stab at our 2024 predictions, and let's start off with the obvious question. What is our number one most anticipated game of 2024?
Dragon's Dogma 2. It's the only answer anyone should have. And that's because it's the best game that's going to come out in 2024. Or it's going to be the worst game that comes out in 2024. And I'm excited for both possibilities because Dragon's Dogma 1 is the worst best game I've ever played.
Please elaborate on that.
It's just so Dragon's Dogma has just the potential for being like, it could have been a classic for everybody, but it has so much jank in it that like you have to be willing to commit to getting through the jank to play the game. And if you play the game and you get through like the concept and you get through the whole story and you kind of experience it, it's amazing. And that's where I think that Dragon's Dogma 2 has a board to jump forward and say, hey, we got rid of all the jank and we just have the amazing game. And if it does that, I think it's gonna go down as a replayable RPG that's going to like be on the level of things like a Skyrim or something that like you could go back to so many times and play through with beautiful combat and being able to explore all the different jobs that you have in it. And just when you're like, oh no, I want to do another run of this game. And that's the one that I'm most excited for. They've IGN right now is doing a whole like IGN first where they're doing trailers of gameplay. They just released like 4 of the vocations and did some gameplay things, and like some of the stuff that they're doing, I was chatting with Senseless about it and he was like, oh man, these spells look great. And I was like, oh, you don't even know. These are like baby spells. These are spells that you get for like the early game. Like the end game spells in Dragon's Dogma 1 are like, they engulf your entire screen, and it's one of the coolest magic systems. And I'm very excited to see how they've expanded on it since. It's been 10 years since the original. 12 years since the original Dragon's Dogma came out in 2012. So I'm very excited to see what it looks like.
Okay, so Zando, correct me if I'm wrong. I've never played Dragon's Dogma. Have you played it?
I own it through like Humble Bundle or something, but no, I've never played it.
Yeah, same deal. So what are the top 2 biggest pieces of quote jank that you hope they get rid of for Dragon's Dogma 2?
Escort quests is one of the biggest things. So right now you have the ability to, or there's in the game, there's a lot of quests where it's like you have to go from point A to point B with a person, and they can die very easily. It's very stupid, the timing of them. It's like you get to the first major city, and then it's like go to an end game area with this person, and you're level 6, and you're like, oh wait, huh? I should be level 40 when I'm going to this area. So they don't really gate those quests very well. And they're very slow, and like you have to like move slowly so the person doesn't leave. And it's not just like, oh, down the road. It's like I spent an hour doing an escort quest and then had my guy die when I was like 10 minutes from the end of it, which was
that sounds like
brutal.
True bullshit. Yes.
And then they have some really weird jank kind of systems when it comes to like the way that some enemies work, how they are almost immune to the other side of damage. And if you don't have a way, if you didn't build your party correctly, you're like, oh, I am a sword user, but this person flies around in the sky and I don't have any range to get them. And based on the pawn AI, if you can't get your pawns to knock them out of the air, you're just like, oh, I'm kind of fucked until maybe they come down and attack me, which is not a great enemy design. And those things, I think, if they've opened up how the pawns, the interactive AI system in the game is really weird, where like you can be like, go attack this, but if you do that too much in Dragon's Dogma, then your pawn learns to just go attack things all the time. But then if you change their class where they're supposed to be healing, they won't heal you because they'll run and just they'll run off and go attack things all the time. So it's like this really weird thing, and there's not a system to see where they are on that. It's just like, if you do things, like one of the funniest things that I did is like I would let my pawns fight, and then I would loot during the battle when things would die, and then my pawns learned to do that. So then they wouldn't attack things; they would just loot during the middle of a battle, and they wouldn't do that because they were learning from me, because they learn based off the player activity. So I'm hoping some of that jank gets at least either ironed out, or we have a little bit more insight into how our actions are actually directly impacting, because everything's in the wiki. You have to like go search for it. It's not in the game.
That sounds great and not at all frustrating. That sounds like a third piece of jank that they need to get fixed.
That's true.
Oh man!
But it is a Capcom game, so it has a pretty good chance of being good in its second go around. Like you look Mega Man 1 to Mega Man 2. Like Mega Man 1 was a solid game. Mega Man 2 did it so much better. Resident Evil 1, solid game. Resident Evil 2 did it better. The thing that has me worried is it being 12 years from the initial release, because those other games didn't do that. Like, hey, we got something good, let's go with it. Not, hey, we got something good, let's wait 12 years and then go with it.
But what's interesting about that, though, it is the same original producer as the first one, and they've brought in people like the Devil May Cry 5, like director, or like the combat person for Dante. He is actually working on one of the vocations, so they're like pulling in their other people from Capcom and from great games in Capcom to like bring it. So like the new Mystic Spear hand it's designed by a Devil May Cry like developer.
Fair enough. Well, Capcom has been on a tear recently, so I hope for the best for you.
Mm-hmm.
My most anticipated game of the year is the same as it has been for the past 2 years, which is Hollow Knight Silksong. It's gonna happen this year, right? It's got to happen. Like we need to. It's just do it, man. Yeah. There's nothing else I'm more excited to play, I don't think, unless something gets announced. But I really just want Silksong to happen. So even though it might not happen this year, it's still my answer for the most anticipated game of 2024.
I love.
I'm just so glad. Yeah, I'm so glad that you're holding out hope that this might be the year, man. This is it.
Look, 2023 is come and gone. 2022 is come and gone. There's still so much more of 2024 to happen, and who knows when Silksong might drop.
That is true. That is very true. Also, didn't they show new gameplay stuff for the Xbox showcase or something?
They mentioned it. It was really weird. It was just a random like, oh hey, here's Silksong, and then they moved on.
Yeah. Dude, apparently I just looked up like Silksong release date, and the second question that people also ask is, why is Silksong taking so long? And I clicked on it and it says the game is taking so long because the testers are trying to 100% it to find any bugs that need fixing. So apparently it's going to be a tough game.
Right. Or they're just finding so many bugs. I don't know. But in Hollow Knight, you fought bugs. So maybe they're just confusing actual bugs with like bugs in the system. So it was a bad joke before I started it. So I'm just going to shut up.
Yeah.
The top search for me when I look up Silksong right now is fan gets tired of waiting, makes and releases their own Hollow Knight Silksong game from 2 days ago.
Nice.
And I'm seeing a YouTube video from 2 weeks ago that the person made. So yeah, if you want to play their version of Silksong, I mean, it looks good. Like there is a YouTube of it. I haven't watched the YouTube yet, but
I've got plenty of things to keep me company until Silksong eventually comes out in 2046.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. So my most anticipated game, I'm pretty sure, is coming out this year. In fact, it's coming out in a couple of weeks, and that is Tekken 8. I am just so super jazzed to get into a fighting game on like day one, be learning it. I've committed to the fact that I know I'm going to have to lab. I hate labbing in fighting games, but I know I'm going to have to do it because I want to get good at Tekken 8. I have decided I want to be good at it, not like casual good, like good, right? Like can join like online tournaments and put up like decent results and that sort of thing. I've never actually done that. I've always just been like, oh, I'm the best player in our friend group, or oh, I'm the best player at my college arcade, you know. But no, I want to like devote real time to Tekken 8, and I am so super jazzed about it.
Nice. I'm excited to see what happens with Tekken 8. I'm not a Tekken player. As try as I might, I just can't. It's too much. It's too much for my brain. But I'm excited for those who are excited for it, and I will watch it and I will admire it. But I don't think I'll be getting it.
I'm really intrigued about Tekken 8 because it's the biggest change from the Tekken system in a bit, and I'm very interested to see how it's going to be received, both as a large competitive game and from a fan base perspective. Because I mean, the whole chip damage thing now, like that's a huge change.
It really is.
And some of the I'm wondering like how quickly those matches are going to go, like, and how aggressive people are going to be, if it's going to favor rushdown characters or I mean, I'm very excited to see. But this is a game that like I'm wondering if it's going to go down in the annals of history of like being terrible or if it's going to be amazing.
Interesting. I'm banking on amazing. I'm super hyped for it. I've played the demo. I really like the demo. But to your point, the demo does not have an online capacity. So I haven't been able to play against real people yet. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know how real people how real people are going to react to the new systems, you know? Mm-hmm. So we'll see. Yeah, it might be bad, but I don't care. I'm freaking hyped for it. What are some other games that you guys are hyped for 2024? And I'm going to go first because I posted a YouTube link in the notes that I would like you guys to watch on mute. And that is the link for the trailer for Skate Story, which is coming out. And it is one of the most stylish, craziest looking skateboarding video games I have ever seen in my life. I don't anticipate that this is going to be for everybody, but this looks like it is exactly my style of shit. Like your character is made out of like geometric shapes. And then when you crash, you just like crumble into like glass on the ground. It looks so awesome and so stylized. I am so stoked on Skate Story. I am also stoked on Mugenics, which is coming out from Team Meat, which is the company that made Super Meat Boy. It's going to be like a tactics game where you like, it's a cat-based tactics game that's a little bit roguelike-y, that you like breed generations of cats to make your cat stronger. That seems pretty cool.
Fire Emblem.
Yeah, kind of Fire Emblem-esque, but more rogue-likey, you know? And if it's the team that made Binding of Isaac, Super Meat Boy, all of that, like, they've got a pretty good pedigree. I'm pretty stoked on it. And then lastly, and this is a big question mark, but Hades 2. I don't know. I doubt that Hades 2 is going to come out of early access in 2024. I really doubt it. But Hades 2 might be one of the few games where I actually like get in on the early access stuff, because I want to support it. I want to be part of it. I want to like give feedback, and I'm okay with that because I know that it's not Supergiant. Yeah, Supergiant. Thank you. I was thinking Supermassive for some reason. And that's something completely different. I know that Supergiant is going to do a great job with Hades 2, but they need testers and that sort of thing. And I'm just not sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to play it during early access or not. But man, I am excited to see what happens with it. So that's my third choice. Did you guys watch that trailer? What do you think?
I did. It looks, and I've not played this game either, so I can't say for sure, but it looks like super hot skating.
Yeah,
Like that
okay.
kind of
Feels
visual style. It looks neat, and I'm definitely, I'd be interested to watch you play it.
Yeah, it's the sort of game that like I think is going to slide under a lot of people's radar. So
is it like, I mean, from that trailer, was it looked like it was more like a downhill like kind of style. It wasn't like a trick based like area. It looked like it was like movement progression. Is it like a skate where you're like, it's like a racing game, or is it like skitching?
I don't think it's a skitching style, like Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam kind of vibe. But who knows? Maybe there's levels where that's the case. There is one level or one part of the trailer where like the character appears to be veering off to the side as though it's open world. So I really don't know yet. We don't have a ton of information on Skate Story, but man, it looks sweet. Apparently you're a demon in it. You were skateboarding through the underworld. So like I'm just stoked on it.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
I don't know. Yeah. What about you guys?
For me, Visions of Mana. I mean, I've talked about that in our Game Awards and our preview stuff. Are the things that we're most excited about. Same with No Rest for the Wicked. I think the art style of and Ori's pedigree had me very excited based on the way that game looked. And Windblown, which we've talked about before, the makers of Dead Cell. I'm really excited for a co-op roguelike that with like it kind of has a Happy Tree Friends vibe as well too. So I'm very excited to see where that game goes. Now I have a question mark next to that one because we don't have an official release date, but I'm hoping that it goes live in 2024. But
I mean, with how hard the Dead Cells devs worked on Dead Cells, I would not be surprised if they are like, yeah, it's coming this year, basically. So I don't know. Well, looks good. I actually don't remember No Rest for the Wicked. It looks cool. I'm looking up screenshots of it.
It was one where during the Game Awards, and maybe it was before you joined the chat, I wish list it right then. I was like, well, bam, let's go through. Let's wish list this one.
Nice. Very cool.
So some of the other games that I'm super excited for, and I keep forgetting that this is coming out, is South Park Snow Day. I love South Park. I've loved the last 2 games they've put out, and I keep seeing them go on sale for dirt cheap. And I'm like, oh man, I should go back and play that again. But then I'm like, I've got so much other shit to play. I can't go back and play these very long games again. So to see that they were coming out with something, it looks like it'll be entertaining. It looks like it'll be a little bit different, obviously, in the last 2. It being like 3D rendered graphics as opposed to the South Park style. Like there's the construction paper flat kind of plane. But regardless, those guys, I mean, Trey Parker, Matt Stone love video games. They love some of my favorite video games. And I think the last 2 games have shown that they know how to do it when they have the proper studio behind them. So I'm hoping that this will be another Stick of Truth / Fractured But Whole and not another South Park 64 because damn. Another game I'm looking forward to is something I kickstarted back in like 2021, I think, or maybe early 22. Is called Crowsworn, which is a hand-drawn castle or Metroidvania style game. It got pushed back a little bit. They've been really working on to get the updates, and I'm seeing all the stuff they're doing. It looks really cool, and so I would really like to get my hands on that. Other than that, I'm still just I want to see where else Marvel Snap goes this year. They put out their roadmap recently, and they're talking about new game modes and other things that they're doing. All the new cards that are coming out right now are really cool looking, and I love updating or getting that update every day at 2 p.m. to see what's going on. I'm still having a ton of fun playing the game, so I'm really excited to see where they go next. If they do like a draft mode or what have you.
Nice.
So while it's not technically a new release, it's still something I'm hyped for this year.
Yeah. Their roadmap is really exciting. Saying Crowsworn is cheating. I just looked this shit up on Steam, and it's basically Hollow Knight 1.5. So, like it's a guy with a plague doctor mask, and he's like fighting against bugs in an underground setting. Like, this shit is Hollow Knight,
right?
The environments look like they were stolen from Hollow Knight assets.
Don't care. Want to play it.
That's fair.
I mean, yeah, I get it, but man, does it look even the listen to the synopsis. A dark curse has befallen the land of Firendal, a once vibrant kingdom. All but the last remnants of humanity have seemed vanquished as the world is overrun by sightless creatures of nightmare. Like, that's basically the same plot too. Come on, man.
Want to play it.
All right.
What happens if it comes out the same week as Silksong? What are you gonna do?
Play Silksong.
Okay,
it's my most anticipated.
Yeah,
game.
That's true. That's a pretty answer.
It's true.
Oh man. All right, Xander, you keep talking about how you've got all these other games that you have that can keep you warm at night.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about some of them. What games did we not play in 2023 or before that we want to spend more time playing in 2024 because we neglected them?
As we speak, he addressed me. Damn it, I will go first. As we addressed, or I've completely lost where I was going because can't interrupt. Anyway, I've got a ton of stuff in my backlog that I need to go through. I'm currently in the middle of replaying through Spider-Man from 2017 so that I can finally play Miles Morales. And then I bought a PlayStation 5 a couple of weeks ago, and the only fucking thing I've played on that so far has been NHL 17 because I want to play Spider-Man 2, but I need to get through all this other shit first. I also have God of War Ragnarok sitting here in front of me waiting for me to play it, as well as Final Fantasy 16. There's just a ton of shit that I've been putting on the backlog every single time. And my goal for 2023 was like, I'm going to go through and play all these games that I have in my backlog before I buy anything new. And then all this cool shit came out in 2023 and I had to break that rule. And then of course, Street Fighter 6 took me away for about 2.5 months. And then Sea of Stars, just too many fucking things came out. So I need to go back and play all of this stuff.
That's fair. I feel that in my heart. Like Street Fighter and Sea of Stars, they ate up a good portion of my year as well too, which then didn't get me to play Nier Replicant, which I've been wanting to do ever since I beat Nier Automata on stream. I was like, I'm going to give myself a little bit before I start Nier Replicant. And I haven't streamed in like a year and a half at this point.
A little bit is 18 months.
So I really want to play that game. I bought Marvel Midnight Suns when it was on stupid discount, and I'm very excited to give that a try. And now that all the jank should be figured out from that. And Shovel Knight, I bought this when I first bought my Steam Deck. Never played Shovel Knight before. I bought the Treasure Trove, and I was like, hey, I'm going to play through Shovel Knight. And things have come out and I start playing something else on my Steam Deck, and now it's just a Dragon's Dogma machine. So
yeah. You are going to love Shovel Knight, dude.
Very excited.
Okay. So this sucks because Baldur's Gate has taken up almost all of my gaming time in 2023 since it came out, which means that I missed basically everything else. Thirsty Suitors, Remnant 2, Cyberpunk. I want to go back and start that over. Final Fantasy 16. There's like a million games that I want to play that I just have not had the time to play in 2013 or 2023. Holy shit, what year is it? The problem is I just listened to both of you say that a good chunk of your 2023 was taken up by Street Fighter 6.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I have already committed to the fact that I'm going to get good at a fighting game. So I'll see all of these games in 2025, I guess.
If not later.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck, man.
Oh,
if you're committing
man.
to a fighting game and you're wanting to play on a high level.
Ugh,
And here's the other
real
thing you'll
rough.
run into as you commit to getting good at this fighting game is you'll be like, all right, I'm kind of waning out. I'm going to play this other game. And you'll play for a little bit. And guess what? A new downloadable content character's coming out. And you got to play that character. So you're going to go back and play it. And it's going to fuck your whole life up. It's just going to keep happening. Ed's coming out next month, maybe. And then I'm going to play Street Fighter 6 again instead of playing fucking Spider-Man. And it's just going to keep happening. So long story short, don't play fighting games, guys.
Play fighting games.
Play all the fucking fighting games. They're so good. God damn it.
Long story short, if you are a fighting game developer, though, don't make any DLC characters. Like, that's terrible. Like, let's do away with DLC characters forever. Please.
Or just put them all out at once. Fuck, go old Street Fighter style. We used to complain about that shit, but I would love to just like not have to worry about playing the game every other month because a new character that I may or may not like because they may or may not be Zangief comes out. I'd rather just wait a year and say, oh shit, all 4 of these characters, let me try them out. Nothing for me? Cool. I guess I'll keep playing Zangief. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
I like Zando's mentality of maybe as a player that I'm not going to play Zangief. I've played Zangief for the last 30 years. Maybe I won't play Zangief.
Hey, you played Marissa for like an hour.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, man. All right, cool. Yeah, my 2024 is already fucked. Let's make some fun predictions, though. Predict a game that is coming out this year that's going to be a surprise hit. I'll go first on this one because Zando already talked about it, and I think South Park Snow Day has a chance to be either really, really great if it follows in the footsteps of the last 2 games, or really, really shit if it doesn't. I personally am leaning towards great. I think that this game could be absolutely amazing. I think that it's under a lot of people's radar right now, but I am hoping beyond hope that's really good because I also loved the last 2 South Park games. I thought they were absolutely amazing. The writing was great. The battle systems were great. Like, all of it was awesome. And if they move that towards like a third-person action game, but keep in some of the like nuance, some of the humor, like that sort of thing, I think it could be an absolute smash hit. We'll find out. I do not think there is any world in which this game scores a 6. Right? I think it is either going to be a 8 or above, or a 4 or below. So that's my prediction. What about you guys? What do you think is going to come out? It's going to be a surprise hit.
I remember seeing the trailer for the new Prince of Persia during the Game Awards, and I thought it looked neat. And I remember those games being real good when they first came out. And we've not really heard much from Prince of Persia. And now we're getting kind of like the revival of it. So I think that might have a pretty good chance of taking everybody by surprise. I think you'll see a lot of the longtime Prince of Persia fans trying it out and then like really digging it. And then that kind of inspires other people to try it out. Because Prince of Persia seems to be that game that like, you know, was out in the late 80s and everybody liked and then disappeared for 10 years and then came back with a vengeance. And now it's disappeared for, I don't know, 20 years. And now it's going to come back with a vengeance. Maybe. Who knows? But that's my prediction. Prince of Persia.
I don't know, man. Here's the thing about Prince of Persia. A lot of Prince of Persia a lot of the like Prince of Persia games that people loved were like 3D action adventure games, and it looks like they have forsaken that to turn this back into a 2D platforming game. and it also doesn't look great, and also it's Ubisoft. And all of those things put together means that I have very little faith in this game. I would love to be wrong. I would love for this to be absolutely awesome. I do not have the faith in this that you do.
Well, I mean, you asked what would be a surprise hit. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true.
If it already looked great, right? It wouldn't be a surprise.
That's fair.
For me, it's Black Myth Wukong. The trailers that we've seen for this, like, I'm of the same opinion of Dale, like, where it's like it's either going to be great or it's going to be a 4. The trailers make it look like it could be an amazing game. The action style combat, it feels very much like a Sekiro or any other fantastic action RPG, but the lore is what really I feel is going to be a make or break it thing for us, because like I mean, for me personally, the lore it's very much steeped in like Chinese like lore, and it's not something that I have a lot of exposure to, and I don't think that we have a lot of exposure here in the West to like true traditional Chinese lore. So I'm interested to see, because we have a huge fascination with Japanese lore and like samurai and all that stuff. So I'm interested to see if this game has that same sort of like pull for people. If it's going to just be like a Sekiro clone or a but the magic system looks like it's very cool in it. Like the boss fights, the larger than life things in this game, they do remind me very much of like the Sekiro, like the giant snake and stuff that from that game. So I'm very interested to see if this one blows up or if it's going to be a huge bust.
Yeah. This one's really interesting looking. Like the visual style of it is really interesting, because it's like if From Software was devoted to making a game that wasn't like fully gross, you know? It's like weird, but it's not like gross, or at least nothing that I've seen so far is like, oh, that thing, like, I don't want to look at that anymore. I better kill it. It's like all the things in here are just like visually interesting. So this is a really good call out. Really good call out. All right. What game do we think is going to be a flop?
We already mentioned it. Suicide Squad. Wait. Kill the Justice League. Kill the game. Just kill it off. I don't need another boring ass superhero shooter or looter shooter with sharks with guns.
I mean, don't you have to have like a projected chance of it being good for it to be? Doesn't everybody just kind of on the same page that this game is going to suck?
But they've put so much money into it, so that means it's a flop.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah,
that's where I see flop, is that there's been a lot of money put into this game. There's been a lot of hype put into this game from the studio side. I think when all of that fails, that means it's a flop.
Fair enough.
I want this to be good so much, because this could be such a cool story.
And isn't also Rocksteady? Aren't they the ones that are working on this?
Yes.
Yeah, they've got a pretty good track record. So yeah, I would hope that it was. I would hate to see like, oh, this just is garbage, and so these guys aren't going to work on games anymore.
I mean, they took it back a full year, so it's entirely possible that in that year they have like revamped it and not made it a live service shooter anymore. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, more power to them. I don't think that they've done that. I think that they have taken it back and just like polished it up and hidden some of those systems that make it obviously a live service shooter. I don't know. Like shark with sniper rifle is like the most ridiculous bullshit of all time. So I'm with you. I think that this is going to be a flop. I also think that Skull and Bones is going to be a flop.
Oh, fuck that game.
Yeah, man. Ubisoft trying to make a Sea of Thieves clone, or even an Assassin's Creed Black Flag clone. It looks bad. It looks very bad. And all of the gameplay that I've seen is terrible. It's just ridiculous. So I think that's going to be a major, major flop. What about you, Zando?
I think with all the success that Nintendo's had recently, I think we're going to see Princess Peach Showtime just kind of underperform. And a lot of people, like with Super Princess Peach, when that came out right around the same time as like New Super Mario Brothers, A lot of people were real excited about it, and it also just kind of like, yeah, that's a game that came out. And I feel like Princess Peach might be the same thing. And I really hope I'm wrong. I want it to be a good, fun Nintendo game, but I just don't think it's gonna launch a whole new thing. Like, people want more Princess Peach starring games, and I don't think this is going to be the one that's going to push us over to seeing it become more of a thing.
I feel
now, do you think that? Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like there just hasn't been like hype from Nintendo about it, which is kind of weird. Like, it doesn't feel like they're really showcasing it very well, which that maybe that's just me and my missing of things, and like people who are more dialed into Nintendo Directs feel differently. But I feel like I have not. Like, when I saw this on the list, I was like, wait, this is a game?
Yeah,
I feel like I've totally missed it.
I think it's just it'll be overshadowed by, Super Mario Wonder, which was excellent. And kind of like this, like I said, going back in time, we had New Super Mario Brothers, and Super Princess Peach came out shortly after and was definitely a video game. And like I said, I feel like this will be kind of the same thing. They announced it around the same time as a bunch of other things. It was kind of like, oh, this is cool, a Princess Peach centric game. And so maybe I'm missing the the meaning of a flop, but I just feel like this is going to be just, here it is.
Like, what even is the game? Like, I'm watching some gameplay of it, and it's like,
it looks like a 2D action platformer. It actually, this is backing up Xando so much. It looks kind of like it has big Balan Wonderland vibes.
oh,
yeah.
oh,
So it's like, or like the dress grid from Final Fantasy X2, where it's like Peach takes on these different jobs and then like does things based on those jobs. So like becomes a detective, becomes a baker, becomes a dancer, like that sort of stuff. Kung Fu Peach, and it's like, yeah, oh man, looking at this, Xando, I agree with you. I don't think this is going to be huge, and it's not because it's going to necessarily be bad. This looks like it's going to get a 7. It's going to be a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Someone out there is going to love this. That someone is not going to be the general public.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a really good call. Cool. All right. So, what seemingly shelved games do we want to hear updates about this year? Give me your sad games that you don't know anything about.
I want Nintendo to finally announce Mother 3 and just that they're going to port it to Switch. That would be great. It's never going to happen, but I would love to hear something about it. They've had a little bit of steam, I suppose, with bringing the Earthbound Beginnings to Switch, and then obviously Earthbound is on there. So seeing Mother 3 on the Switch, I think would just be a cool, like, hey, we realize it's almost 20 years later, but here's this game you guys have been wanting. Outside of that, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, that looked like it was going to be real good for a minute, and then everything got gutted. Like, they just pulled a whole bunch of people off of it, fired writers and all this other shit. But it's still something that's coming out. I love the first Bloodlines.
Fall.
Yeah, I love the first Bloodlines, and I've gone back and played it recently, and I still love it for how just old it is. And I would love to see this take off again. I love that whole world. I love the clans of the vampires and all that. So seeing something for that would be good. And then I had definitely had to borrow one of Dale's answers, so I'm just going to let you say it, and I'll just tag on to you.
Fair enough. Gannon, what do you got?
Oh, I thought that was your transition. For me, Kingdom Hearts 4.
Suspense.
We heard about it in August of 2022, and we haven't heard anything since. Like, what's happening? Like, we went an entire year with no information about Kingdom Hearts 4.
I think they called it Lorcana and they released it.
I just have to ask, did you play and like Kingdom Hearts 3? Are you the guy?
I didn't finish Kingdom Hearts 3. No, but the thing is I don't know if I kind of burnt myself out, because like when I first started streaming, like before I was in Super OK, like forever ago, I played through all of the Kingdom Hearts games back to back to back to back before the release of Kingdom Hearts 3. And then Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, and I think I was fatigued. So I actually just need to go back and play it and give it a real shot and see if I would like it.
Follow-up question.
Mhm.
Can you explain the story to me?
No one can.
Okay. Just checking.
Not really. Not in a quick way.
No, not now. I'm just saying, like, could you, given enough time, could you explain the story?
With enough time, yes, because I could get a YouTube video and watch it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what I
so
did.
No,
when
you can't.
When Kingdom Hearts 3 was coming out, I was like, man, maybe I should go back and play those games. I never did. And like, clearly there's people excited about it. And then my buddy Craig like sent me a video of this guy who had a friend who was really into Kingdom Hearts. And so he had him explain the story to him while he drank heavily and animated it. And it's probably a good half hour to an hour video, but it was entertaining. And it made me just decide, no, I don't want to play these games.
Perfect. All right. Sorry to interrupt. What else are you looking forward to? Or what else? What other games do you want to hear updates about?
It's a very interesting one because I was like looking up like games like I hadn't heard in a bit. And one of the ones that caught my eye, and I went back and watched the trailer, and I was like, oh yeah, I haven't heard anything about this. Star Wars Eclipse. Do you guys remember that? Yeah, this beautiful trailer that was done, and then there was nothing. And it's come out recently in like the last bit that the game actually, they used this trailer to try to get people to join the studio to work on the game. It's made by the same. It's supposed to be made by the same developers who made Detroit Becomes Human, but there was literally nothing else to the game other than this trailer to get people. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen because this trailer was beautiful. But who knows?
That's wild.
Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
That is wild recruiting tactic.
And my last one is one that's just going to be here forever. StarCraft Ghost. Now that Microsoft owns it, maybe we'll get it because Bobby Kotick personally put a gun to it. So.
Oh, I guess I should have probably put Silksong in here, huh?
Yeah, this is where Silksong.
Yep. All right. My answer for this, the first one and forever in my heart is Metroid Prime 3 or Metroid Prime 4. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
We saw a teaser about it and nothing since then. What the hell, Nintendo? Like, figure it out.
There used to be a running Reddit theme of like how long it's been since it was announced. Let me see if I can find that.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I really like the idea, though. You're like, Metroid Prime 3. It's on my shelf. No one's updated it in years. What's going on?
I just cannot read today. Actually, the reason I said Metroid Prime 3 is because my last one is Half-Life 3. I'd just like to hear anything about it. I know everyone else would also, and it's a running joke at this point, but I'd love to. Hook us up, Gaben. All right, moving right along into the realm of possibilities instead of pure fantasy. Do we think any new consoles or hardware is going to be announced this year? And if so, what?
Just a quick update. It has been 2,396 days since Metroid Prime 4 was announced. It was announced June 16th of 2017, and we still have heard nothing.
That's crazy.
Yep.
That's 6.5 years, FYI.
Mm-hmm. Sure was.
That's crazy. All right. So consoles, hardware, what do we got?
I mean, Switch 2, probably. I don't want to believe it.
Why don't you want to believe it?
I don't want to believe it, man. I want them to take longer and make something good as opposed to just like, it's about this time, let's put something out. Like the Switch, I feel like is still, I mean, granted, it can hardly handle the games that it's running or that it's like Tears of the Kingdom and all that. But like, just work a little bit longer and make something really good. And all the news that's coming out is like, it's not really going to be like a revolution. It's going to be more of a, here's the next thing. So like, I don't want it to be like, going from the what is it? The DS to the DSi. I don't want that. I want them to just come out with a new strong console.
But what if it was more like DS versus like the like 3DS? Like they take it to a point where it does have stronger like it's the same form factor, but it has stronger processing power. The games on it are specific for that.
Listen,
game.
I know you said DS to the 3DS, but all I heard what you say was the Wii to the Wii U. I don't want that. I don't want them to just put like here's a slight update. I want them to go from the Wii to the Switch. Like, don't make some gimmicky thing. The 3DS, when it came out, they had to literally incentivize people to buy it by giving them giving them a whole bunch of free shit. The 3DS Ambassadors Club was a thing because nobody bought the fucking 3DS. 3DS was a solid system. Don't get me wrong, but like take your time, make something better for it. If you're releasing games that are still playing okay, cool. Make a Switch Pro or something. Like just don't waste our time with a baby step system. Like, it's still not going to be able to play games on the internet properly. Like, don't just there's too many other the Steam Deck is already doing what you should be doing. Improve on the Steam Deck and make it Nintendo, and then come to us, see what you have. That's why I don't want to believe that the Switch 2 is coming out this year. It feels rushed.
That's fair. I'm 100% with you. I specifically wrote I would not be surprised to see the successor to the Switch be something like the Switch U, where it's just like a bump in hardware, maybe all the way up to where it performs on par with the PS4. So that would be cool. Yeah, I don't know, man. I would love to see Nintendo come out with something where the hardware matches the generation that it's going to be, not the generation that was or was 2 generations ago. I think that would be absolutely awesome. I don't think they're going to do it. Nintendo is notoriously terrible at figuring out like what hardware needs to happen. And to be perfectly honest, like Super Mario Wonder looks gorgeous, but it probably could have ran on a Xbox 360. So what incentive do they have? You know, they go to the Nintendo devs and say like, hey, do you guys need anything that can run better than like a Game Gear? And they're like, no. They're like, cool, we're making another Game Gear. So I get it. That said, I do expect that a new Valve Index is going to be announced this year. I thought that there was going to be, I was thinking about this, and I initially put in that we were going to see a Steam Deck, like a real update as opposed to the OLED. But I think the OLED, the way that Steam released it, proved to us that they're not going to do huge, like, here's the Steam Deck 2. I think it's going to be generations, right? In much the same way that, like, there's generations of like the iPad or generations of the Pixel phone or whatever, where it's just going to be like incremental updates. The Steam Deck will always be available with like the newest possible hardware. They're not going to worry about jacking the price up a ton. You know, they prove that with the OLED. That said, they have not done that with the Index, and the Index at this point is like gonna be 6 years old. Technology has advanced quite a bit, and I would not be surprised to see an Index that could be that has like onboard processing in it, similar to like the Meta Quest, because that would really, really help a ton of people to adopt VR, which is clearly something that Valve is passionate about. So that's my hot take. Is it going to be accurate? I don't know, but that's where I think it's going to go.
If nothing else, I'd like to see them drop the price on the Index. It's not keeping up with the other stuff that's come out.
It sure
and they're
isn't.
Still selling it for $1,000 US.
Yeah. For me, it's I mean, I was on the same page about Switch 2, whatever, but and then I have a fun one. I just want a Dreamcast Mini. I want a little Dreamcast emulator or some sort of Sega emulator, like they've done it with the other ones, the other systems. So I want to see Dreamcast get a little bit more love. We can get some of the old Dreamcast games just on a little mini system, or them really go back with the release of all the new franchises they're coming back and give us a way to play all the old games. It would be really cool. And I'm seeing it as a console, but I would be cool with it being a more virtual thing as well too. But they've had success with the mini Sega Genesis, the mini NES, the mini Super Nintendo. So I would love to see a little mini Dreamcast.
Yeah, that's a good call out. I almost want it to be more virtual so that way I can play Power Stone online against people, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be a physical device. But that's a good call out. All right. So 2023 was a year rife with drama in the video game industry, whether it was the Activision Blizzard acquisition, the Game Awards enshittification, mass layoffs despite record profits. There was always a new wild story that was coming out. Which stories do you think will continue into 2024, or what new things do you think are going to break out as important?
So I want the opposite, maybe not necessarily bad things, but things that were cool in 2023 that I wanted to see kind of grow and their stories continue. One is the like continued growth of some of these niche markets that have blown up. Return to World is happening right now for Monster Hunter, and Monster Hunter has been a smaller series, and it's come over to the Western side with World, and Rise, but they've both blown up so much, and I'm excited to see where Wilds takes us with that. So I'm really excited to see that. And another one for me is the FGC that's grown so much. We've already talked about Tekken, we've talked about Street Fighter, we've talked about Mortal Kombat. If there is a Switch 2 this year, you know that we're going to see a Smash Bros at some point on the new system if they do something like that. And I would love to see the continued growth of the FGC, because I think it's a really cool niche market of video games, and there's becoming a lot more mainstream love for it. We're seeing big streamers compete in these like Capcom, or they've had these tournaments where like they come into a game like Street Fighter and they play it, or Capcom Cup, where that's happening like right now ish, like the final eight are going through, like that's a $1 million prize. Like we're seeing some pretty crazy stuff, and money being brought into that world. And it would be cool to see that grow as an esport and see it grow as a community as a whole.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool. I agree. I think it would be cool to see that, see the fighting game community grow. I'm going to go the exact opposite of what you did, which was all hopeful and shit. I think that we are going to see more layoffs as companies chase even higher unsustainable growth. But I hope that leads to more news of unionization in video game companies as well. Game.communist, but unionization is important. Collective bargaining is important. I also would not at all be surprised to see Bobby Kotick start working with like EA and like some of the other shittier companies and form some sort of like video game villains group, like a Sinister Six or whatever, to just start making like buying up all your favorite IPs and selling you loot boxes about them. Like it seems like a particularly ripe year for evil shit to happen.
It'll be the introduction of loot boxes for video games. New releases come out in a loot box, and you have to buy a $70 loot box to see if you get the game you want.
Right, exactly. Like that sort of level of like bullshittery. I would not be surprised. Blind boxes for video games. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But now we've put it into the world. Michael Transactions listens to our show. We have historical proof of that. EA's CEO, and so I don't know. We'll see. What about you? What about you, Zando?
I think we're just gonna keep seeing Nintendo stomping on people's passion projects. More new fan-made Pokemon games. Who knows? Maybe someone will get ballsy and try to do something with Splatoon, and Nintendo's just gonna keep on stomping on them instead of taking those ideas and making something good that people clearly want. They're just gonna keep saying, no thanks, we'll do it our way, and then do it their way, but like 10 years later.
And not connected to the internet.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have friend codes.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's funny because I was like, what do you think is going to happen as important? And yours is a sure fucking thing. So
I got to be right about something. Yeah. Come on. I said Silk Song's coming out this year.
Fair point.
I want to listen to this at the end of 2024 and be like, well, at least I got one thing right.
Nice. All right. Well, it's our last question, and you know what that means. It's time for our first sponsorship of 2024. This question is sponsored by Crystal Balls, every clairvoyant gamer's favorite tool of the trade. Do you get it? That's a pun on the energy drink, and also, never mind. Name a game that you hate that hasn't even come out yet. Throw down your gauntlet into the future, huck it into a time vortex, and slap some poor, undeserving game directly in its stupid fucking face.
Is it too easy to say that whatever the new Destiny expansion is going to be? Is that just too easy of an answer?
The final shape?
I played like vanilla Destiny and didn't care for it, and so I'm just going to continue to hate on Destiny.
Here's the thing about Final Shape. It has been delayed. There have been huge layoffs at Bungie. There's all this crazy shit that has come out about the fact that those layoffs have nothing to do with Sony, but instead have to do with Bungie's mismanagement. So, like, this is a little bit of kicking while they're down, but this is also a fact of, like, yeah, I get hating this.
And I'm also just going to throw down the gauntlet. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Final Fantasy VII's overrated. We don't need to keep remaking it. Move on. Let's just get off of Final Fantasy VII's dick. Fucking finally.
Damn.
That's very funny.
That was a gauntlet.
That's very funny. What would be amazing is if they just, because they've announced that it's going to be 3 games, right? The remake is going to be 3 total games. It would be fucking amazing if they just only made the second one and never made the third. Oh, that's so good. All right. I am going to call out Cat Quest 3. I never played the first 2. I'm not gonna, and I'm planning on keeping the streak alive. Fuck you, Cat Quest 3.
Man, that was brutal. Poor Cat Quest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mine's a little closer to my heart. Zenless Zone Zero. Oh, MiHoYo. The Hoyoverse. I can't have you come out with another game this year. I can't sit in Discord and listen to people talk about their gambling problem when I have a gambling problem, and they're talking about whatever big titty anime girl is coming out again, and they're gonna all spend all their blongos to try to get it, and we're gonna it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard, and I'm gonna be sitting there, and it's just gonna be the worst night of my life when they're all playing it, and I don't know if I'm gonna be strong enough. I'll probably play it. I'll probably spend $100, and they'll probably leave.
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing. The worst part is Zenless Zone Zero is definitely like my steez when it comes to like game style. It's got like a near future sci-fi like streetwear kind of aesthetic to it, with like, so it's just like a gotcha game with anime waifus that's like exactly my steez. And you're 100% right. I have to skip it. I absolutely have to skip it. I did not know that you had a gambling problem, by the way.
Oh, and it's specifically for gotcha and cards.
I was going to say,
gotcha.
That explains so much around your behavior around fucking whatever the last one was. I just blanked on its name. The other MiHoYo game.
Yeah.
Honkai Star Rail. Yes, that explains so much.
Had the same problem when it came to Genshin too, when I finally played that.
So I'm going to jump ahead in our normal program here and just say, if you're not in the Discord now, jump in before Zenless Zone Zero releases, so you can be in the voice chat the night that this all goes awry for Ganon. If you want.
And when I'm having a problem, you guys can say "fuck you, Dane" and Dan, because I'm adding Dane to the list tonight because he's going to be part of the problem.
That is
he
so
absolutely
true.
will be.
He's gonna be like, oh, look at this person, and then Kyle's gonna be over there being like, oh, look, I found this leaked character. Look at them. I'm gonna get 40 blongos to do this. Make sure you put in your code so you have free gambling money. Also, did you know you can bet on the WWE with sports bets? Who knew?
Oh, man,
if you found that
so good.
Even
King
a
of
little bit
Thanksgiving
entertaining,
2020.
join the Discord.
Yeah. Yeah, King of Thanksgiving 2023, King of Enabling Ganon's Addictions 2024. Oh, shit. All right. Yeah, fuck you, Dan, though. You could have stopped all of this, but you didn't. All right. Tell the people where you can be found.
You can find me as Zando in the Discord, especially on the night that Zenless Zone Zero releases.
You can find me in the Discord until I can't pay for my internet because I started playing Zenless Zone Zero.
I'm on the Discord and in Blue Sky, a 20-sided ninja, and I will be live skeeting Ganon's addiction problems there. So you follow me there.
Did you
Does
just
anybody
say
else
live
have any?
skeeting?
Yeah, when you put something up on Blue Sky, it's called a skeet.
Oh, skeet,
Yeah.
skeet.
It's my favorite thing. Also, threads are called like when you reply to a skeet, you make a rope. And also, your timeline is called your skyline. So you get to skeet ropes into the skyline. It's fucking great. If that's not enough to get you on Blue Sky, I don't know what is. All right. Anyway, anybody got anything else to talk about around 2024? Any other wild ass predictions?
No. I got
All right.
nothing.
I predict that we're going to continue loving our Patreon subscribers. Thank you immensely for that. We couldn't do it without you. And I predict that we all need to say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. Oh, this is your Borat comes back. Goodbye.
Oh, no.